Feels good to see the world getting loose. Feels good to see the world getting loose. I don't know about you, Sack Noel. I don't know about you, Phenom. I don't know about you, White Shadow. I don't know about you, but I feel good.
All right, here we go. It is a Monday evening, Beav's World, and it's going to be exciting because I can already see he already has the swag. It is the Michigan hat, the Mets hoodie. And yes, it is chilly up there in Michigan, but it doesn't matter because with the Ultra signing that they did apparently last night at about 9:45-ish or so, and according to some reports, Beef, which kind of gets me a little bit, is that alleged, the Red Sox had offered $730 million. Now, I don't know if it was the same amount for 15 years or not, but nonetheless, they offered 730. Boston Red Sox, another historic team, but what makes you think that he decided to say, you know what, Red Sox fans, no thanks, I'm sticking with the Mets?
The Mets have a better organization and owner than the Red Sox, maybe? Could that be part of it?
Could be. Could be. Very much could be. But listen, I said it to Pete this morning. I know he asked you the same question. It was just said also over on Rich's show. You know, we are getting into this ridiculous stratosphere of contracts, and eventually the fans will continue to pay for it, no matter which way you look at it. The fans are going to be the ones that are going to be screwed because you're not going to get, for example, you're not getting a Dr. Pepper or FedEx or I don't know, Cheez-It to sponsor, by the way, $500 million of that contract. So now you're looking at, what was it, $755? You're making $5,000 per hour, which in my lifetime, I would, not even on a scratch off, will I ever see something like that. But this is where it gets me to that danger zone because now you're looking at $245 million away from $1 billion. Are we really going to offer that kind of money to one human being?
Yep. Well, I mean, again, we have to understand who the Mets owner is and what this guy is, and he was a minority owner, and now he is the owner, and he got a taste of last year. You know, I wish I could say the same thing about the Tigers owner, who they had a nice little run there, and he's out signing bargain basement guys, and that's why they're where they are, and that's where we are. So, you know, it is what it is, and it's good to be a Mets fan, but the reality is, I remember what it was like, you know, when I had to watch Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden play for the goddamn Yankees, and in other things. Now, obviously, they were at the end of their careers and they had moved on. Particularly, Doc had kind of fallen apart and had some problems. Darryl's gone on record and say the biggest mistake he made was leaving the Mets. And going to the Dodgers and all the things. You know, they both had a lot of problems, but they were Mets guys. And it's a business. A business of sports. You know, we got to figure out what we're going to do with Pete Alonso. And bring him back because that's somebody I think we should try to keep. And if we don't, we have to get somebody like Christian Walker, somebody to play first base, move Vientos over, play there. But again, similar to your team, the Phillies, we have a structure. We had some guys in place, you know, going back to your Jimmy Rollins, Lee Ryan Howard team.
Right.
Well, your current team has, you know, Braun and some of these other guys, and Dombrowski's done a good job bringing in talent. You know, when Bryce Harper's deal was people were screaming about that. That was a deal like 4 or 5 years ago. So it's every deal, the next new deal. We talked about this earlier with Pete. Ohtani's deal. I think this is like $300 million more than Ohtani's deal with a lot less deferments. So again, but it is what it is. And it's good to be a Mets fan today. And by the way, I'm not the biggest Juan Soto fan in the world either, but he's the best free agent out there. We had a need at the position, and he comes in and, you know, he's a great offensive player, which is what we need. But again, we still need some more pitchers and some other things augmented and figure out what to do with Pete Alonso at second base. At first base, whether it's Pete or somebody else. I'm voting for Pete. It also helps that his agent just signed the deal with Mr. Soto.
Rick says, by the way, the Nationals looking for a big bat like Alonso. So, I mean, I don't know.
Let me tell you. I'm glad you brought that. Let me tell you something. People are killing Soto for leaving the Yankees. I will lead the rip jobs on Pete Alonso if he leaves the Mets to go to the fucking Nationals. That is a Mickey Mouse second rate outfit now. They got lucky with the Strasburg Harper groups and they screwed up and let Harper leave.
Mhm.
Harper was the guy they should have paid, not Strasburg. You know how much I love Bryce Harper, my Phillies friends. I'm a Mets fan. He murders us, but I love Bryce Harper. He's a leader. He's a culture changer. He's what baseball scouts, my friend Wayne Walton has a saying for this. Pricks who can play. Like Pete Rose, Dustin Pedroia, yes, Derek Jeter. Guys that are old school, Ty Cobb types back in the day. So Bryce Harper, notice, by the way, the minute he showed up in the Phillies, they got really good. And I know the Nationals got lucky with Max Scherzer and all those other guys winning. But, Strasburg ruined his career trying to win the World Series, and he did. But if Pete leaves the Mets and the money is close to go to the Nationals, it's done by him. And by the way, I don't think Boris will do that. Who has Boris put in Washington long term voluntarily from his? Remember, he's had a lot of guys leave
Right.
the Nationals, and Mike Rizzo I think has done a good job. But after what the Mets have done and Pete's role in us getting to where we were last year, he had some really big home runs, and he fits New York. He fits this team. If the Mets have the money and the money is close, like Soto was, he should stay. If Juan Soto is leaving the Yankees to come to us, if you're Pete Alonso, what are you sitting there thinking of that? And I know the Nationals need good. Go get Christian Walker, or call the Tigers and offer him a ham sandwich for Torkelson. There you go. But I mean, no, I'd be very surprised if Pete leaves us for that team, or keep hearing the Cubs or the White Sox. If he wants to win 40 games, he can go to the White Sox.
So I think the one thing that kind of has gotten to me today is like how many Yankees. First of all, you guys got him basically on a 1-year lease. So it's not like he's been there for 4, 5, 7
Yeah,
years.
they talk about him like he was Don Mattingly.
Right.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense. I mean, it was a 1-year lease on him, and he did not feel like he wanted to stay part of Yankees organization. And it's up to him. So
Well, Angel, have you seen the John Heyman reports about what they did to his family and his friends?
No, not yet.
Okay. So the Yankee security people, I guess, have thrown like Juan Soto's family and friends out of the locker rooms and areas and so forth, giving him it's all out. You'll see John Heyman's the one reporting it. The MLB reporter who is based in New York, basically. But yeah, I mean, no, he had no long-term roots there. And the Yankees just assume, hey, people are going to fall all over us. And, people forget this. They weren't the team that signed A-Rod. They
Correct.
traded for A-Rod, which was the difference. And by the way, going back on that, the team that A-Rod should have gone to was the Mets then, when they had Mike Piazza and Edgardo Alfonso and Al Leiter and all those guys. That's when he should have gone to the Mets, and he didn't. And part of it was he pissed Steve Phillips off with wanted his own marketing team and all these different stupid, silly A-Rod type things. Hey, I'm A-Rod. Look at me. Nothing about winning, just about A-Rod. And I think it's different, but we'll see. No, you're correct. And by the way, look at what they gave up for Soto for 1 year. Michael King and a couple of these other guys, They gave up a lot in that trade. And I mean, I'm missing something. Are the Yankees good enough to give away good pitchers? I mean, my feelings about Garrett Cole. I mean, I would run to the stadium to hit against him in a big spot. His worst stats in his career are against my Mets, by the way. The Mets murder him. And I just have no respect for him. I think he's a cheating fraud, going back to the substances on the ball and the other stuff. I just think he's a loser. But, he's what it is. He fits right in with the guys in the Bronx. But, I mean, it is what it is. But, yeah, they gave up a lot. And, again, they're talking about talking about how good, how big a deal Soto leaving was. By the way, Rick, he's talking about Zach Wheeler.
Yeah.
Angel and I have talked about this. I loved Zach Wheeler. And now remember, when he was leaving, the transition in ownership was going on. Steve Cohen would have never let Zach Wheeler leave.
Nope.
Never. Never, never, never. And it was a huge mistake. It was funny. They kept every one of those pitchers that got hurt up until they let DeGrom go. And who was in charge then? Steve Cohen. So they kept Matt Harvey. Well, Matt Harvey kind of drank and drugged his way off the team. They got rid of him. Syndergaard got hurt. Matz got hurt. Who else? One of the Familia, and yeah, they had a couple of their reliever guys get hurt, and one of them at DPD. I think it was Jerry's Familia. But no, I love Zach Wheeler. No, people don't realize this. He wasn't an original Mets prospect. They traded Carlos Beltran for him. Traded Carlos Beltran of the Giants, but the other guys, Harvey, DeGrom, who was a college shortstop, by the way, people don't know that, hit a home run off Chris Sale, by the way, in college. That was one of the running jokes that when the Mets should have kept him around when Sale went to the Braves to bring up DeGrom as a pinch hitter. And by the way, there's another name that's going to come up with the Mets. A little birdie told me that the Mets might talk to Texas about bringing DeGrom back off of all of his injuries. And he would be an option to bring back to the Mets.
Here.
Well, I don't honestly, I'm reading Rick's comments. I don't know if it's congratulations yet. There's a lot more work for us to do, Rick.
Well, that was the question. The question I was going to post then is because no one's going to, everybody's in celebration mode because everybody knows what happened with the Mets. And we all understand it. But the one question no one's asked so far, and I know when Bryce came to the Phillies, no one said anything to add at that point either, but I don't see it. And again, just as a Phillies fan and outsider, if this project that the Mets are trying to put together and adding Juan Soto, if they do not make it to the World Series, is that a bust year?
This year?
Yeah.
No, because there's this little problem called the Dodgers. And there's a couple other little problems called the Braves and the Phillies. So it's not like we got a layup line.
Right.
Like what the Yankees had through the AL last year, where there was a corpse of this team and this team. And by the way, the Yankees would have been like the 5th and 6th place team in the National League last year, the way the National League was. I mean, the Padres and the Dodgers were both better than the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
And the 3 AL NL East teams were better than the Yankees. If you don't believe that, check out the Mets record against the Yankees last year, and then just go watch when we played them compared to when we played the Dodgers compared to when the Yankees played the Dodgers. Hold on, Aaron Judge is here to talk about defense. But no, it is. It's like my thing. There's two people I have to mention every time I'm on any show on the Coastal Sports Network. We're going to talk about Ryan Day, or I mean, 04. And Aaron Judge, ball hitting his glove and going the wrong way. But no, I think it's a long-term investment, and that's what Cohen is talking about doing, is sustaining, not doing what the Yankees just tried to do. Mortgage the future to try to win one World Series where they give up Michael King, and there's other guys in that trade. Go research the other dudes they gave up.
Right.
So, again, we're building for long-term success. I mean, people forget this. One of the second year of Steve Cohen on the team, we won 101 games. That was the 22 team. And now, unfortunately, we ran into the Padres. Again, with Machado and those guys, really good team. But, I mean, I mentioned this with your Phillies. They added guys almost every year. One year they got Realmuto. One year they got Bryce Harper. Then they got Kyle Schwarber. Nice move, Red Sox, letting him go. And then Trey Turner. By the way, I like three, and Bryce Harper, obviously. I like three of those guys better than the guy the Mets just signed. But none of those guys are available. I got Mancross and Kyle Schwarber. Michigan's baseball coach was his college coach at Indiana. That's Tracy Smith, Skip. I love Kyle Schwarber. but I mean, none of those guys are available. If Hank Aaron wasn't available, you'll take Willie Mays. So that's kind of where we are with our team. But they have to get probably 2 starting pitchers and figure out first base. And I'm very confident they'll do both of those things. And I don't think their payroll is going to be completely nuts. We'll see what goes on with it. And what's up, Penguin? But it's just it's a good day to be a Mets fan. It really is.
Yep. Well, what's up, Penguin AZ? The one thing that just came through on the line here that the Phillies have signed right-handed pitcher Jordan Romano to a 1-year contract, according to the Phillies president of baseball operations, Dave Dombrowski, this evening. So, listen, the winter meetings are heating up. We already know that.
That happened like midday, Angel. Remember, because you had a lot of reclamation projects in your bullpen. A couple of those guys, the Mets slapped her on Stram, and the guy throws 102. The Lindor hit the grand slam off. Guy from the Angels and the Rockies. Alves, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So
there was supposed to be there, which I don't think it happened, not as of yet, because they're talking about bringing Luis Castillo. It was supposed or alleged.
The Mariners. Well, that's what I was talking about with Alex Braum in the trade. By the way, that's another guy. That's somebody the Mets would. That might be Jeff McNeil. That's another team. That you and our 2 teams are competing for a couple of these pitchers, because the Mariners' problem is they have all these pitchers that are the same age like the Mets did in about 2015 with DeGrom and Harvey and Matz and Syndergaard and all those guys. You can't pay all of them at the same time. It's different than what the Braves had with Maddox, Smoltz, and Glavine. They were all kind of different ages.
Correct.
And they could spread things out. And, the Yankees with Pettit and Clemens and David Wells and El Duque, they had different, and Hideki Arabu and all the different guys, David Cohn, all the different guys they had. So you want to have guys in their careers at different stages. This isn't the NBA where you have Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry together. Right. So you have to figure out what they're going to do. But the Mariners have like 4 starting pitchers, but they don't hit. So your team could give them Braum. We can give McNeil or Sterling Marte or something like that. So, it is what it is. But no, I think you're going to see I'm with you. I think there's going to be a lot of activity. You and I are in the minority because you've got Dombrowski, who's amazing. And we got David Stearns and Steve Cohen. If you don't know what David Stearns is, he's the guy who built the Brewers, which is funny because we took off in the playoffs beating them with the Alonso home run. But off their closer, who's ridiculous. But no, it's it'd be interesting to see what goes on here with the activity, and it's fun, be talking baseball here in December, and being fans of 2 teams that have teams.
Yeah, no kidding. Which will make it great for springtime between the both of us here. And then Pete's Red Sox got a long way to go. But GBG, by the way, says, good afternoon, fellas. First, being able to check out the shows, good so far. GBG always joins me for his weekly segment with the Bucks Report. And that'll get hopefully, Wednesday.
I got Penguin asking me about the stud, number 4, the running back on Arizona State. You want me to talk about that?
Sure. Bring it up.
It's going to be hard for him. I like him a lot just because, first of all, the Boise State running back had an historic season, and they're also in the playoffs. And also, obviously, 2-way guy on Colorado who's awesome, the receiver corner, the Hunter, Travis Hunter. I listen, if I was voting, I would vote for the Gentry kid, the Boise State kid. Physically, he looks like Barry Sanders. He's a bowling ball little guy. Your guy, Scatterball, Sacramento State, small college story, really nice story. He's like a fire hydrant type of guy, but he plays like Mike Allstott. He seeks contact and trucking guys, which I wouldn't recommend for his long-term health, because if he does that in the NFL, he's going to be doing what Derek Carr was doing yesterday, like on the ground looking for body parts. So I wouldn't recommend doing that, but I like him a lot. I don't know if he'll be a Heisman finalist. You're going to look at, obviously, Hunter, Dylan Gabriel will be a finalist. And also and the Ashton Genty, the running back from Boise State. And I don't know if there's anybody else. I'm thinking of Georgia doesn't have an obvious guy, and the Carson Beck reports are not good. Looks like he needs maybe Tommy John. And who else? Who am I missing? Well, the Buckeyes don't have anybody, but they have an 04. Who else we got? Trying to think who else we got. Angel. Anybody else? Heisman wise? Shador,
Yeah.
but he's going to be hurt by Hunter.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody else obvious. Actually, Cam Ward.
Yeah, Cam Ward. That's true.
Cam Ward. There's. Penguins asking about the Boise State guy. I actually think Travis Hunter's going to win. But now he's different. Remember, I was here with Charles Woodson, and Charles was amazing. But Charles would play pretty much the whole game on defense. He'd do some kick and punt returns.
Okay.
Then he would do about 10 to 15 plays on offense, if that. So he'd probably do about 90 plays. If you watch Colorado, Travis is like at 130 plays in the game. It's amazing to watch it. I don't know how he does it. And he was a huge recruit coming out of high school. So it's amazing to watch him play. And as somebody who lived and was around the Charles Woodson experience, anytime I bring you up with him, that's a really good thing because that's the best college football player I've ever seen. And up alive and in person. And he was a huge part, obviously, of the last time we won the national championship. I like saying that, the 97 team before last year. So it was pretty fun. And obviously Charles arguably might have had the greatest career of any football. I mean, he won the national championship. He's a primary defense player who won the Heisman.
Right.
He won the Super Bowl, and I believe he won Defensive Player of the Year. Like guys who compared to him, like Marcus Allen. Marcus Allen won the Heisman. I believe he won the national championship. He won the Super Bowl. I think he won a league MVP. And I think he was the MVP of the Super Bowl, the reverse run against the Redskins. So I mean, there's very few. Paul Hornung was like that too, but I don't think Paul Hornung won the national championship. There's a couple other guys, but but yeah, Charles Woodson is the best college football player I've ever seen. Vince Young is the best quarterback. Mr. Bo Jackson is the best running back I've seen. Randy Moss is the best receiver. Best D lineman is probably Aiden Hutchinson. And what else we got? Who else? I can't think of anybody else. Offensive lineman, probably Tony Baselli. Or no, sorry, Orlando Pace. I got to give a little Ohio State love. Sorry. Yeah, and to give a little love to our buddy Mr. Pete Shepard. In the 80s, that
Right.
run of quarterbacks Miami had started with Jim Kelly. It went like Jim Kelly to Bernie Kosar, Vinny Testaverde, Steve Walsh, Craig Erickson. They're all NFL. They're like six guys in a row that NFL starters. Never seen anything like it in my life, and they're all good. So which was crazy. Like the guy who broke it actually was Geno, and he won the Heisman. So it's pretty funny.
Rick says
Rick's question about AJ Brown. I'm waiting for you to talk about that. I'm going to let you walk in that quicksand, buddy.
Rick says, Angel, do you think
the diva wide receivers?
Yeah. He said, do you think the word spoken by AJ Brown about Hurts in the past game will be an issue going forward? Listen, do I want to say no?
Okay, Angel, I'm going to give you a layup here. I'm going to be Maurice Cheeks on the fast break feeding Dr. J.
All right.
Well, wouldn't it be nice if the Eagles had a strong, manly head coach who could handle such toxic problems in the locker room? Angel, go!
Well, everybody knows at this point. I know Joey B probably get a kick out of it because anytime it comes to Nick Sirianni or anybody else, listen. I know, I know the guys over on Q show when he talked about as far as taking away my hat and my credentials and blah 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 for the Eagles. My thing is that there's always some sort of form of controversy when it comes to the Eagles, whether it's AJ Brown, whether it's
the head coach.
correct. And the slow starts are just to the point where I get irritated. As much as I support this team, and I still do not have my eggs in that basket when it comes to the Eagles, because Nick Sirianni is going to find a way to blow this thing up. It's just going to happen. Little by little, it continues. You can see it on Sunday on the gameplay when you cannot make it to the NFC Championship game. And if you do, and you have this consistent, let me get that 1940 crank going on that Ford and finally get it rolling, it's not going to happen, especially if you have to play. Hopefully, if right now it's for Detroit to lose, for everybody to run it through Detroit. But even if they go to the link, for whatever crazy reason, if it flip-flops and it goes over to the link, it's the slow start is going to kick you in the ass, period. It's going to happen. It's going to continue to happen. I don't know why it keeps going in this famous circle. So for AJ Brown to kind of somewhat call out, Jalen Hurts, call him out. Because again, we're just going to keep seeing the same process over and over again. Jalen Hurts at times yesterday, same crap. It's looking, where am I going to throw? Who's open? Nobody's open. All right, let me run. No, I'm going to think about running. I'm going to run again, and hopefully I don't get knocked out in the process. The same way we're running Saquon Barkley, it's great. Listen, the running game has improved. I get it. I understand it. Kudos, the whole 9 yards. But how long the same way? Because that O-line at times plays miserable. And we saw it at times come yesterday. Our defense is banged up. I mean, I could go on when it comes to, I really don't. If A.J. Brown called him out, good for A.J. Brown for calling him out, for doing so. Because it gets to be annoying with Nick Sirianni. And still, you are now, the third season in when it comes to the Eagles. And it's, what playbook am I looking at? Oh, wait a minute. This playbook. That's right. This one right here. What's it say right here? It says only one damn thing. Nothing. That's what it says. I'm so
that yesterday. I couldn't stop laughing.
Oh my God.
He was doing this.
Yeah, that's exactly what he was doing. He kept shuffling around because he had nothing. Honest to God, I've never seen a head coach other than Mike McDaniels.
I was sitting there watching it, and oh my God, Angel's watching this, and he's gonna kill himself.
Because it's true. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Like if you watch McVay now, McVay doesn't do the sheets anymore. He's just on his headset.
That's it.
And he's really cut back. Andy Reid still does the clips and everything, but it's oh my God, that was so funny. I mean, I couldn't stop laughing. But here's the thing with AJ Brown: a couple things. He's already gotten paid, so he's there. He's clearly not concerned about getting paid and getting stats. So he's as flawed as his message is. He is coming from a position of strength,
right?
Because he's gotten paid. He's not Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, where he's looking for his deal. Well, T. Higgins got franchise tagged, but I mean, gas pump. If you didn't know, the minute you say Sirianni's name, just get out of the way. I mean, it's just let Angel roll. He's not Angel, he's Angle. Evil Angel comes in. I mean, there's it's just hilarious. To get off that and give you a moment to recover, Penguin was asking about Dylan Gabriel. As far as an NFL player and compare him to Steve Young. He's not Steve Young. Steve Young could have played running back. They were going to make him a running back in the USFL. Look that up.
Right.
But what they were doing with Dylan Gabriel, to me, it's very funny. He's a lot like Bo Nix. The lefty thing, you'll be surprised. A lot of teams don't like having that because you have to change your protections. Way back in the day when my good buddy Dan Dierdorf was playing, the left and right tackle didn't matter in the NFL, just the way they played. They didn't think about, if you have a right-handed quarterback, the blind side's the left, so you get out your better pass pro guy at left tackle. They didn't think of that stuff. So they do now in great defenses, historic defenses like Angels, Eagles in the late 80s, in the early 90s of Reggie White and Clyde Simmons. The Giants had that Lawrence Taylor guy and the Carl Banks guy on one side, and they also had Leonard Marshall in there. So the more Pat Swilling and Ricky Jackson with the Saints. Bruce Smith and nobody can name him. There's Phil Hansen and other guys at the other end. But so you just got to have a bounce. But I'm not. There's no way in God's green earth I would draft Dylan Gabriel over Shedeur Sanders. I love Shedeur Sanders. I mean, I think he's going to be awesome.
Right.
I would not draft the two stiffs who played in the SEC championship game the other night. For the life of me, I still don't know why Texas doesn't go to Arch. He's better than Quinn Ewers. And Carson Beck isn't good. He's just not good. And remember, these guys are on high-level teams. And they're not going to go to high-level teams when they get drafted in the first 10 picks. Everybody likes the angel and the angle. See, I'm the Beav all the time. There is no on and off switch with me. So, well, I mean, it's just me. But no, I think, and Dylan Gabriel's his pro day and everything's gonna be good. Everybody's gonna, when you're a smaller guy and you're kind of athletic, you're gonna have the Kyler Murray comparisons. You're gonna have the Drew Brees comparisons. And I said this earlier with Pete. Kyler Murray makes me nuts. I don't like watching him play. Just the way he plays. Yeah, I don't know what the F is up with that guy. He doesn't play the quarterback position like the right way.
Nope.
He just and people kill Lamar. Lamar does not play like he does.
Correct.
Lamar tries to throw and do the reads and everything. Kyler just running around. And it's like he's out there having fun. And they have a good team. And they have good players on that team. And he's just like, it's funny. He's in a division with Stafford and Geno Smith and Purdy, and they're all different. He should watch how Brock Purdy plays, where Brock Purdy gets the ball out. And Stafford is hyper athletic, but he gets the ball. And he's got Cooper, and Puka. And Geno, who's playing really well. Charbonnet had a big day yesterday, but I mean, it's nuts to see. Yeah, so see Joey B. No, Joey B. It's Ice Mountain and my Red Bull. So I usually I'm a smart water guy. I could get an NIL deal with smart water. I drink so much smart water. Who's Max Verstappen?
Verstappen?
Yeah, who's that?
With the Indy race cars?
Oh,
once again.
Oh, see, I'm not in the. See, that's Kathy's the NASCAR person. I'm not in the auto racing at all. But yeah, so yeah, my Red Bull.
There may be.
I have one caffeine drink in the morning, and then when I'm on air like this, I do this. This is an 80 mg one.
I will agree. And by the way, as I tease before,
that is a great take.
Yep.
Penguin.
Yeah.
Backyard team. Great take.
Yep.
Like you just met each other basically. And you know who else pisses me off? Speaking of Ohio State, Marvin Harrison. He's AJ Green 2.0. Soft, uncompetitive player. I would never pay him. Go. Next.
They're going to blow up the entire Cardinals team. Going to be blown up. I mean, you see already UNLV's blown up.
Conner McBride. I like James Conner and McBride. The rest of them gone. I would trade Kyler Murray for a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
By the way, just as a teaser, as you mentioned it, Kathy being for for NASCAR, just a teaser. There may be something involved here on the network sometime soon with NASCAR. So I will leave it at that. We'll see how.
Really?
We'll see how things.
You have. She watches every race pretty much, and I know who these guys are, because of her, and she loves Kozlowski. Is a Michigan fan. Who's the other guy is the other guy she likes? I'm trying to remember. I know Kozlowski's one. I met him at a couple of U of M events. But who's the guy with the racial thing with the noose? Black guy.
Oh, Bubba Wallace.
Bubba. I knew who Bubba Wallace was way before that because of Kathy. There you go, Bubba. And I was like, Bubba Wallace, that sounds like a black guy's name. That's no, really.
That was just
Like
That
Reggie
was-
Cleveland, the white guy with the mustache. That's like a black guy's name in the 70s baseball. And it's like, because you had all the Harlem Globetrotter guys' names were like that. And
Yeah.
it used to crack me up.
Right.
So, yeah. By the way, Reggie Cleveland is a trivia question answer. That was Alan Trammell, the great Tigers shortstop, major league debut against Reggie Cleveland, and it was in Fenway Park. And I was there. I was like 6 years old.
Goodness
So,
gracious.
isn't that crazy?
Sure is. All right, we are going to take our first commercial break here. It's going to be a quick one, if I can say it correctly. It'll be a quick one. We'll come back because as we got into some college talk, I also want to talk about obviously the Reliant Quest Bowl that's coming up, which is going to be a massive turnout here in Tampa.
That's huge ratings for that, right, Angel?
Yeah, sure is. It's going to be.
Some people will be asleep. I might be one of them.
It may not be bad.
We're losing like 5 guys to the portal every hour.
Yeah,
I mean, Alabama is too, by the way.
Well,
But I mean, some of these bowl games, they're going to have more bowl gifts than players.
we'll see. We shall see. I know last year we covered the Reliant Quest Bowl last year, so hopefully we'll get to do it again this year. I mean, it's going to be, there's a huge Michigan-Bama fan base down here. Huge. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be
All the Buccaneers guys led by John Spytek. He's a Michigan guy.
Yeah.
He played here. He's one of my boys. And Larry's down there. Larry Foote is one of the defensive coaches. And Drew Henson's down there. There's a whole bunch of our guys down there.
Yep. But I'm going to get into it after the break. So I want to get your thoughts about Carson Beck after the break. Because
did they have to be cleaned or could they be X-rated?
I can be X-rated. Doesn't matter.
Okay,
One way or the other. All right. Okay. We're gonna take our break here. Don't forget, you guys can call or text in the show at 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650, or make your comments as Joey B and Rick and Penguin AZ. Absolutely love these guys. Don't forget, you guys can always make the comments on the socials, as we do appreciate it. When we come back, we're gonna get into some Carson Beck talk, because I'm just wondering, is he a for real type quarterback? So I'll get B's thoughts. You're listening to a special edition of Martinez Company combined with Beav's World tonight here on the Coastal Sports Network. Don't forget, right after this show will be Lloyd Vance's Insider Football. So after us will be Lloyd Vance. We'll be back on the Coastal Sports Network right after this.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Shepard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
To some people, The sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have anybody to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
All right, welcome back. Usually, Beav is always getting down to this. Every time I call him up, he's always got this going on in the background. So, welcome back. It is a special edition here. Martinez Company, along with Beav's World on Sports Radio 102.9 FM. The Game. Thank you all for who have downloaded the app and continue to download the app. We always appreciate the love and support here on the network. Don't forget, you can visit sr1029thegame.com. Therefore, you can always check out all the content that the network has to provide. Not only that, you can check out USF content, Tampa Bay Sun, as we are nice enough to be partnered up with them as well, so we can have an enjoyable time here on the college and the pro level, especially when it comes to soccer. Women's lacrosse will be kicking off here in February. And yes, Sports Radio 102.9 has you covered for USF lacrosse as they make their thank you, Gaspum, guys. He says, great intro. Do appreciate it. Listen, I try to change it up every once in a while, but I know that, Facebook and the YouTube policers, they like to knock me down every once in a while. But, I play my own games, and that's fine. All right. Don't forget, you can call or text the show at 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650. Right below us, or at least right behind us, not below, excuse me. Right behind us will be Lloyd Vance's Insider Football. That is coming up from 8 to 9:15. And then we start off the morning all over again with the Pete Shepard Show from 7 to 10 a.m. All right. The question that I had, and I know that Joey B had one as well, but to me, Carson Beck, what like he started somewhat promising, he continues to slide backwards. Will he make it to the NFL draft?
He's going to get there, but I mean, I wouldn't draft him for the Army. I mean, I just don't think he's very good. And I wasn't a Stetson Bennett guy, and Stetson Bennett looked like Dan Marino compared to this guy. I don't know. I just don't see it. He's cost himself a lot of money. So is yours, by the way. But no, you can't draft these. No.
Would you take
maybe a day 3 pick? I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Would you take Will Howard from Ohio State over Carson Beck?
Oh, Will Howard makes Carson Beck look like Dan Marino. I mean, they're both terrible. I don't like either of them. Will Howard was a great contributor to his own demise against us. He was terrible in the game. And I also think he probably was knocked out and they put him back in the game. I mean, there's videos of that ongoing right now, but no, Will Howard's not there. None of these kids. No, drafted for the Army, not the NFL, Angel.
Correct. By the way, Joey B says, and how was that a not targeting penalty when UGA backup got lit up? SEC refs.
Gunnar Stockton. That was a clean hit. Gunnar Stockton, that was a clean hit. That wasn't Trevor Lawrence. That was a clean hit. The problem was, here's the thing. And if you've been around practices and been around football, the backup quarterback and the starting quarterbacks don't get hit in practice. So they kind of develop kind of this arrogance
right
with running where they think, oh, I'm going to be fine. And well, when you run across the middle near your goal line, here comes Looney Tunes to take you out. That was a 100% clean hit. 100% clean hit. It wasn't a dirty play at all. It just the result of the kid got blown up like Derek Carr. Derek Carr yesterday. I mean, he's got a broken hand if you haven't seen, and he's got a broken brain too. He's got a concussion. But I mean, no, it's the way, every hit that happens now isn't targeting. There's targeting should be for over the top, dirty plays. There was one the other day. I mean, the Trevor Lawrence one everybody saw, and that was bad. But again, he hit Trevor late, but it was in the chest, and then he hit his head on the ground.
Right.
It wasn't like if you've ever seen the Kiko Alonso one that he did the Joe Flacco, which is almost the exact same type of play as Trevor Lawrence, that was a Macho Man Randy Savage elbow upside his face. And that's happened. There's other ones like that. But no, it wasn't anything egregious over the top in my eyes. No, the Gunnar Stockton kid. I mean, and that was crazy too because he got knocked out, and then Carson Beck had to come in with one hand because his arm was dead. So, and obviously we know he's got a serious shoulder injury, and we're also hearing UCL injury, the ligament in his elbow, which is Tommy John. So he really might not be ready for the draft.
Now, speaking on the kind of flip side here from college football to the NFL, excuse me.
Yeah.
Who is Derek Carr yesterday from New Orleans.
Why is he trying to jump over three guys? Is that what you're going to ask me, Angel?
Yeah.
Again, no, as somebody who deals with high-level quarterbacks, and I was just literally texting with one who's in the transfer portal right now, that most of these guys have been Superman their whole life. Particularly somebody like Derek Carr, who actually had winning seasons. Understand what I'm about to say. With the fucking Raiders, he had winning season with the Raiders. He probably was the league MVP the year he broke his back, like your buddy Carson Wentz back with the Eagles several years ago.
Right.
So these guys, you have to have superhuman belief. Like Baker Mayfield's a great example.
Mm-hmm.
But when Baker Mayfield's on a bad team, say the Browns, he rubs people the wrong way because he's super competitive. He wants to win, and he's going to do jumping in the crowds and doing all this crazy stuff. So these guys think, hey, like the famous one, Tommy, putting a move on Brian Urlacher and getting a first down. He shouldn't be able to do that. But because Tom Brady thinks that way, and obviously Tom's the outlier of all outliers, but they all think that way. They all think they can do it. You know, the Joe Montana, John Candy story is another one of my favorite ones. If you don't know that story, the 88 Super Bowl, they got the ball back with about 1:30 left, and they're down, and the 49ers are all worried. They're down, I think, 4. They need a touchdown to win the game. And there's a commercial break, and Joe Montana, they're in the far end zone. He looks into the crowd, and he goes, hey, that's John Candy. And he got and they look, and it's John Candy in the far end zone, the late, great John Candy, the comedian, actor. Right. And Harrison Barton and all the other offensive linemen relaxed. Then they went down and drove the field and broke the Bengals and poor Boomer Esiason and Anthony Munoz and Tim Crumry, who shattered his leg, and Ickey Woods and David Fulcher and that really fun Bengals team. They broke the hearts. John Taylor, little slant, touchdown. Jerry Rice had about 70 yards in that drive catching balls.
My thing is, you got these guys, right? And I'll bring up Rick's comment here in a second, but you have these guys that continuously either they're going to slide or they're going to think they're going to go out. Yesterday, I forgot what game I was watching where you had The one quarterback seemed like he was going to go out, then kind of faked a little bit, got a couple extra yards. Okay, big deal. I mean, and he didn't take a massive hit. If you're going to,
it was Drew Lock.
That's what it was. Yes, correct. Yeah, that's what it was. Listen, between the multiple games that I have on and trying to remember stuff where if I don't write it down, sometimes forget about it. But these guys, we had not too long ago saw a quarterback getting hit, right, because he slid down. Now Trevor Lawrence, and we saw that happened. 3 games suspension, still, what I think it should have been for the rest of the season. But
he's that guy's a repeat offender too. He's got like 4 suspensions.
But if they're still trying to protect the QB and you want to do some fake okie dokie stuff and then you get knocked out, it is on you, because as much as you try to protect the quarterback, stop being cute. If you're going to go out, go out. But no, you want to fake the funk and you take an extra yard and that safety comes across and he nails you, that's on you. You should have just either gone out or slid, one of the two. But
but here's the problem. Angel, you know who's the worst guy in the league for doing that?
Tua?
Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
I don't think the NFL wants him getting laid out. So, I mean, they handed them that game last night, if you watched it. No, I mean, Tua is more unathletic and he just gets hit. Since he broke his hip, I mean, that injury ended Bo Jackson. So hip injuries are nothing to joke about. So Tua really can defend himself. But again, I think he's gone the other way. He's getting the ball out, more controlled, and Coach McDaniels there has done a good job with him, getting the ball out. I got Jonnu Smith. He's got Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill in the running game with Shane, and Mostert was out yesterday. But, it's fun. It's fun to see, the game. And got the OT win with Juno there. I get him on like every one of my fantasy teams. So that was cool to see. But no, don't think Tua is a problem. I don't think Jalen does it. Lamar isn't really a sideline guy.
No.
Josh Allen is a bigger guy, and he does a lot of run towards the sideline, then cut it up, not the fake. And there's other ones. I'm trying to think who else does it. But the Trevor Lawrence one wasn't a fake going out of bounds. He just kind of slid kind of late. And Bonehead, again, it's just got to know better. And again, I can't say no. The Jaguars, they've had a bad year, but they did a really good job in how they responded to him getting taken out, Evan Engram and all the guys.
Yeah.
And the special teams guy came off the bench and jumped him and got kicked out of the game, 22. But no, it's good. Matthew Stafford kind of does the almost RPO thing that Dylan Gabriel does, where he goes almost to the line and then throws the ball.
Correct.
He's the guy who does that. But I don't think there's a lot of the herk and jerk guy. But I'm telling you, you're right. Somebody is going to get laid out. That's when I saw Drew Lock do it. I was like, he's not good enough to do that.
To me,
I mean, he was losing reps to Tommy Cutlets, for Christ's sakes.
Correct.
So I mean, it's pretty funny. But no, it is what it is. But again, I never had that problem. The 12 guy, he didn't do a lot of running.
No,
he actually did do a lot of running to go get the Super Bowl trophy, but he didn't do a lot of running on the field.
It's true. I guess one guy says Mahomes did that too and got pushed out of bounds and he ran into the table. These guys they won't learn. I swear they won't learn. Rick says, by the way, Netflix Christmas schedule: Kansas City Chiefs play the Pittsburgh Steelers at 1 p.m. Then the Baltimore Ravens play the Houston Texans at 4:30.
Yep, it's been out there for a while. Yep.
Now, the test run for Netflix, if you're listening, your test run was the boxing match, correct? Now,
see, I'm excited because, Angel, you and I can go watch it on Antonio Brown's Twitter page.
Yeah, pretty much. But you got to figure if they couldn't get it right, listen,
it's gonna be way more than they had. Antonio Brown's Twitter page had like 5.7 million people watching it on there.
I think it was going to come down to, they're going to tell the subs that evening, listen, you guys, no Netflix and chill tonight. We're not going to release anything. The only thing we're going to bring up on the server is just the football games. And again, maybe they'll get Elon Musk involved and they'll get him to do all the satellite, trigonometry and to get him going. But that's going to be interesting to me to see what ends up happening. That one there, I would hope the Steelers would end up winning that game. I'm going to go with the Steelers. I'm just going to put it way out in advance. I'm going with the Steelers. I thought the Chargers would have been able to take care of business against Kansas City. Kansas City is like the Eagles. They squeak ways to win. Squeak. Not find ways, squeak ways to win. And that's the way I see it with Kansas City. Now,
The golden kick last night, yeah.
Yeah, they did. It's a squeaker of a win, no matter which way you look at it. But Andy Reid looks like a genius. I mean, if you have now the 2-time Super Bowl champs that are looking to be the first 3-time defending Super Bowl champions,
by the way, but continue, yeah.
Yeah, but if you're finding ways to squeak out wins, the same way Mahomes, how could you possibly get banged up? And listen, Mahomes, God bless you, but at one point or another, all those drugs that you have injected to your body, you will end up paying the price ultimately. Because every single time he gets banged up, it's this and that. The camera's not there. All of a sudden, it comes like, boom. All right, let's go. Put me in place. Let's go. It's ridiculous. But
Wait a minute, Angel, you sound like somebody who listened when we started doing these shows, and Pete and I were talking about Mahomes. The year he had the high ankle sprain and he got through the playoffs, where I accidentally might have misspoke and said, during the postseason, the NFL doesn't check for PEDs or drugs.
Correct.
By the way, I just did that same mistake again. Somebody just took over my brain. I don't know why I said that. But yeah, during the postseason, like there was a famous middle linebacker who played with the deer antler spray on his bicep.
Yep.
Some Ray Lewis guy, I think. Again, I'm misremembering things. But yeah, they don't test for the most part during the unless you were previously found to be user. So they don't test. So if you want to suck down nitroglycerin and go play, more power to you. But Angel, it's a player safety league. That's why the Lions played 4 games in 18 days, and their whole defense is in an ambulance.
Yep.
So
that's because they don't care. By the way, Joey B says, bet of the week, Penn State over SMU. Weather in Happy Valley on Saturday, windy, rain, snow, cold. SMU needs a dry track to run that up-tempo offense.
I'm out here. Joey B. I'm not a very overly religious guy. But one of my 10 commandments is never invest any money in games coached by James Franklin. Did you see when he went for 2 points the other night in the game?
Yeah.
I didn't even have money on the game. I almost jumped out my window. I couldn't. What? Why? What was he doing? And by the way, I had the over in the game in a prop thing on my ESPN app. Not for money. It's a who knows things better than everybody else thing.
Right.
And I sat there and I was trying to figure out. I was like, does he know what the score is? And end up losing anyways, but because every big game James Franklin's in, he loses. But it was just I didn't know what to make of it. I was like, what was he doing? And remember, I watch Dan Campbell every week. Hey, it's 4th and 35. Let's go for it. And he gets it. So, and it's funny as hell because all you non-Michigan or Detroit people are seeing Dan and they think this is new. Dan's been doing this for 3 years. The difference was before really the last year and a half, the team was overmatched and he was doing it. Now he's doing it because the defense is hurt and he needs to. And they hit on 4 of the 5 of the short yardage and the fake. And the other thing he does, and he hasn't done it that much this year, is fakes. Doesn't even line up to go for it on 4th down, like fake punts, fake field goals. So, and the one Georgia did the other night in their game was amazing. The end around with the fake punt. But no, you folks that haven't seen Dan Campbell, I mean, the Applebee's ad, that really is him. So that's just the way he is. And he's a couple croutons short of a salad. So he's just I mean, he wakes up, he's ready to go. So, and by the way, anybody who wants some entertainment in their life, Google and go to the video of Dan Campbell in his Starbucks order. If you haven't seen this, you will not be disappointed. It's about 900 mgs of caffeine, by the way.
Good Lord.
Yeah, he's the real deal. And by the way, just remember, this is very important. The Lions coach is tougher than yours. Angel, of course, you could say that about every coach against your coach, but and you would give him up. You would, this would be like Gladiator 2. Take him, go. I don't want him. He's out. Put him in the ring. I don't care. And just, but no, it's like, what do you? I mean, it's pretty cool that he's so successful and he literally can kick anybody's ass. It's just fun. It's just funny as particularly now that like Mike Vrabel and Ron Rivera aren't coaching. There's not many ex-players. Well, Demetrio Ryans.
Yeah.
There's really not that many. I'm trying to think. Wow, Coach Bowles, but he's like 60. I mean, I don't think there's very many that are ex players besides Dan, really. Andy Reid won a kick, pass, and punt competition when he was a kid, and he played at BYU. But he's not Dan.
No,
Kyle Shanahan was Chris Sims' roommate and teammate at Texas. I don't think there's anybody else. I'm trying to think. No, I don't think there is. Well, Coach Taylor from the Bengals was a quarterback at Nebraska, and he was a good college player. So. But yeah, so I don't think there's anybody else. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Oh, Numbnuts, the Jets interim coach. Ulbrich was a player. After he's done coaching the Jets, he'll probably want to go back and play again. So
probably so.
It might be a better career choice.
Speaking of, who would want either A, because I mean you're going to have two spots you're going to have to fill the void in. One is you're going to have to fill up the GM spot, and then the other thing you're going to fill up is the head coaching spot. And let me
the Jets, the Jets job.
Yeah, the Jets job. But the one thing that I was
brought up the Lions, right?
Yeah.
Did people think that was a good job when Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell came here? No, again, you're missing the point. And this is why your team's good. It has been good since Mr. Laurie's on the team. And the Lions got good when Mrs. Ford, younger Mrs. Ford, took over for her mother, who inherited it from her husband who passed away. So Martha, who is the mother, is older, like Mrs. McCaskey from the Bears. But she did a lot of small things that set the team up. And then Sheila Hemp, her daughter, came in. And she hired Brad Holmes, originally from the Rams. She basically said, okay, what team is really good at drafting and developing players? And the Rams keep coming up. And she called Les Snead and recommend your guy, one of your guys, and she gave him Holmes. But the other thing was, if you remember when they hired Dan Campbell, where they were making fun of him for the kneecaps and the Lions hired Hulk Hogan. And anybody laughing now?
Yep.
So that's where it starts. If you have ownership,
right,
it comes in and gets out of the way, but gives you resource and believes in backs you. But that's part of the Jets' problem, where they have chaotic ownership. The Johnsons are a joke. As flawed as Mr. Mara is, I said it wrong. As flawed as the Giants are, the problem isn't Mr. Mara, because he told that idiot not to let Saquon Barkley leave. We have video evidence. And the idiot not only let him leave, he forecasted him going to the wrong team. By the way, that's reason 10,035 where he should be fired. What are you showing here? What video we got here?
Well, because Joey B.
You ever Saquon Barkley up and punish my Giants fan friends?
No. So this is the one Joey B said. Angel needs to find a picture in the video of Andy Reid in a punt, pass, and kick contest. He's 4 times the size of any other kid.
Yes. So, you've ever seen this? Yes, it's pretty damn funny.
No, this will be the first time I actually see this.
Here's something else we found. He's an old player, of course. Played at BYU as a lineman for Lavelle Edwards. But go back to 19th. This is the punt, pass, and kick contest. Look at the throw. Okay, not an impressive throw, but did you see there's a little bit of a size advantage?
That was hilarious. We were talking about that.
That is ridiculous.
There's 2 other things. Jim Kelly won that once, and the guy who was on that broadcast, Phil Simms, also won it.
Jeez Louise. And what?
Hey, look how big Andy Reid is.
It's ridiculous. And the kid's looking at his lower back like, seriously, that's what I have to compete against?
Yeah.
Holy craps.
Yeah, so I knew Jim Kelly won it. And I knew Phil Simms, but the Andy Reid thing is pretty funny.
Good Lord. December 13, 1971. I don't remember it. Why? Because I was 1 year old. That's why I don't freaking remember it. But good God almighty.
December what?
December 13th, 1971.
Okay, it was about, seriously, like a month after I was born. I was born November 11th, 71.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. And Joey B is reading up on that. It's pretty damn funny.
Yeah, because
oh my God. No, in all honesty, that looks like Derrick Henry versus defensive players in the NFL sometimes.
It does. It's ridiculous. It's the first time. I mean, Lord knows I'm trying to hold myself back from laughing even more, but that is absolutely ridiculous.
Angel, if you really want to laugh, go find some of the Derrick Henry's high school tape and watch some of his high school plays. If you haven't seen, he's the all-time leading rusher in the history of high school, by the way. Derrick Henry is. And you'll see him just trucking dudes. And they used to take him out. He wouldn't play like second half of games. He'd have like 375 yards and like 5 touchdowns in the first half. It's insane. It's just hilarious.
If you look at it as by the way, Joey B says Andy Reid had a mustache at 13 years old. You got to think about it. The most winningest, first of all, the most winningest regular season coach of all time, number one, next to your boy up there. But if you would have seen that, and you would have went to what is it, the therapist there, or not the therapist, who are the crystal ball folks? If you look into the future, and they would say, "Oh,
astrology."
There you go. One day you shall be a 3-time winning Super Bowl coach. I would have freaking laughed my ass off if I would have seen something like that. But listen, Andy Reid, God bless him. He's been doing it. Hey, fortune teller. There you go. Thank you very much, Joey. Yeah. Now I pissed one off. This is years ago when I was still living in Philly. I went down to the Jersey Shore for the summertime. I don't care. I walk by myself. So no, I give a crap. But the one came out and she says, by the way, is it okay if you stop and I'll tell you your future? So how about if I just can't pass it by you now because you're going to ask the next person for the same exact thing. I don't care about your stupid fortune telling because you're going to be there doing the same exact crap. And then right next to her was another guy with a cup change. I wish I had a cup right now. Just shaking his change and said, no, thank you. And he gave me the dirtiest look like, Dick, I wasn't asking you if you wanted change. I was asking if you had some change. Listen, I'm just putting it out there. Just throwing it out there. Joey B says, LOA, Jim pissing off a fortune teller. Here we go. Down the shore store, baby. And that's what it was. Listen,
he probably went up to heaven and asked them to turn you into a lizard or something.
Yeah. It was, listen, the Jersey Shore, I absolutely freaking loved it. Absolutely loved it. There's times where I miss it because listen, it's the only place that you can go to. Like, you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is show up at the Jersey Shore, 7:00 in the morning, cup of coffee, as Rich likes to say all the time, just sit back and watch a show. It gets better all day. And then during the evening time, when people are getting ready to go to Bally's and other places, just when Trump was around, Trump Towers, not Trump, but Trump Towers himself, when he put his name up there, when you see these people dressed to the nines and then go out there, it was the best time. Yeah, like Rick says too, the Wildwood days. That's another one. But Wildwood, they had the song that played all the time. Used to drive me crazy. And then you had the Watch the Tram Car, Please. That was the other one on the Jersey Shore, especially in Wildwood. But man, Jersey Shore, I couldn't stand Jersey. No offense, Jersey folks, couldn't stand Jersey. But man, I love the Jersey Shore absolutely, because if everybody doesn't know, and thank God Joey B moved away from there, Jersey is the armpit of America. Just throwing that out there, just letting you guys know. It is the armpit of America. You're welcome. It started with your former goofy governor. The only governor I actually liked from Jersey, Christine Todd Whitman.
I was about to say that, Christy Whitman.
Yep. She was fabulous for New Jersey. Absolutely fabulous.
And they brought in that fat slob, Job of the Butt.
Yeah, that moron. He tells everybody, you got to stay home. It's COVID. But his fat ass is out there on the beach just sitting out there. Well, watch me. You guys keep sucking because I'm right here taking your taxpayer dollars while telling you to stay home. Ridiculous nonsense.
Well, I mean, Governor Christie was so big he blocked all the sun so nobody else could go out.
That's pretty much it. That moron.
Extra crispy Christie.
Exactly. Seaside Heights, Joey B says, Atlantic City and Wildwood, some of the best people watching on the planet. See, Joey B knows it. It was the best. Seaside Heights was great too. Jersey Shore, I mean, you name it, just, God, such great times. And then, what was it, Sandy Hook? So you had Sandy Hook that turned from a regular family beach, I believe, into, I think, all men's beach, I think. I'd have to freaking remember. Yeah. The
Get on the phone. How about that? I'm kidding. So no. I'm kidding.
Rick says the lady who did the voice of the tram car is suing for using her voice. Really? Did not know that.
Really? Chris Christie. Unbelievable.
Yep. Point Pleasant. Yeah, that was fun too. Point Pleasant. That's friggin' back in the day, useless knowledge for those who love the Jersey. Listen, I kid, Jersey people. I kid. Jersey has some great countrysides. I will say the freshest tomatoes do come from Jersey. So I can't, you know what? It's just, I'll just Newark. That just up there, Newark, Jersey City, up there. That's it.
Newark is the crime capital of the United States. So it's not good.
Oh, Jesus. Rick says,
come out of Newark, Whitney Houston. So,
we just watched, by the way, have you seen that Netflix special?
I'm the biggest Whitney Houston fan walking the planet. So
we just watched it yesterday.
One of the neighborhoods I grew up in Boston was where Bobby Brown was growing up. So I got some Bobby Brown stories for you. Some of them are not usable on air. Actually, most of them aren't usable on air. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. But yeah, so I love Whitney Houston. I'm just the best voice. This Super Bowl 25 national anthem is the greatest national anthem ever, and there's nothing even close.
Yep. Joey B says, that's right, Angel. Best friggin' tomatoes, Jersey tomatoes, the size of Chris Christie's head. Yeah, it is. It's you get the best produce from Jersey. Honest to God. You may not get anything else from Jersey. Well, things that you don't want to catch.
So or something like that. Yeah, nothing good.
Well, see, now Joey B wants a story.
Oh, no Bobby Brown stories.
By the way, here's the other thing. I work for Delta in Orlando, and I have a story to tell about Whitney. Oh, listen, Rick, by all means, you can fire away. Involve Lee Majors. The $6 million man. Interesting. All right. I'd have to get that from Rick one day to see what that's all about. Here's the one thing I don't get as we're getting ready to close out the show here, but what is it, Beav, so you have these people, and I know Pete and I, we joke about it during the day, and listen, we both love God, don't get us wrong, because we do. What makes me laugh is these people that come out and they say, I'm an ultra Christian. My mom raised me a certain way. I don't see the devil at all because the devil doesn't exist in my house, but he exists in the parties. He exists in the drugs you're taking. He insists in that money that you're doing, right? So it makes me laugh that all these people that always, Beyonce, biggest one out there, right? My mom raised us as a Christian. Really? Because how's that working out for you as of late? All these folks crack me up when they're always talking about like I was reborn Christian, this Christian. And yet, somehow or another, the devil won. How's that possible?
It's like the Def Leppard song, Mr. Angel. Actions, not words.
Okay. Oh, all right. I'm just wondering because
I could go Brother Love on you and go, oh, do you believe in the Lord, Brother Angel? Yes, you do. God believe you. Yes, we do. But no, it's live your life. At the end of the day, somebody's keeping score. I get Kathy, my business partner. She's very religious. She went to Catholic school. She goes to Mass. It's a holy day today. She's going to Mass. She's also a really good person. If she was an axe murderer going to church every day, it wouldn't do any good. Right. So, but it's just, sometimes the people that point fingers at others need to be reminded sometimes 4 fingers are pointing back at you.
No, correct.
Just do the finger point and you'll see what I'm talking about.
No,
so it's just, I'm not a perfect person. Jesus wasn't perfect.
Correct.
But you just go out and you try to do the best you can and live your life. And Try to be, it's not really hard to be nice and courteous to people. That's one of the things we've lost in society with the social media stupidity and, drinking and drugs, and everybody's got to have a participation trophy and all the other things that are wrong in the world.
And that's what the thing that kind of it irks the crap out of me, as you just mentioned, that is because it's just that everybody needs to hear all the time, like, are you okay? Are you in your right headspace? What? There's no such. You try. Well, I don't know. Today's military is not like when I was in there. Now they get stress cards. They get all kinds of dumb shit. I can't stand today's military. A nation of idiots when it comes to today's. God bless the men and women who serve, and there's a lot of good ones. But this thing, when you go to basic training and you mean to tell me they give you a stress card and you can pull it out, tell the enemy when you're at war. Excuse me, yeah.
Please don't tell me.
Yep, I need a timeout. I'm not in my right headspace. Can you give me like 15 minutes? I'm just going to go sit over here for a second.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I just, oh my God, it drives me bananas. It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. Why? What is it with everyone and I'm not in my right headspace? I would love to wake up one morning and just come on air and just say, you know what? Yeah, I'm not in my right headspace today, so I'm just going to go ahead and take the year off. I'm going to go hang out with Aaron Rodgers. We're going to see beluga whales and everything else and, go to the mountainside and get all this crazy nonsense. Get out of here with that dribbling crap. I've never, and then coaches. That's the other.
Our friend Ryan Day, Angel, soft.
And I already know I'm going to get hammered for it, but you know what? Why? It's the crutch with the whole thing too. I need a life coach to tell you how to run your life.
Feelings, whoa, just your feelings.
Exactly.
Full Johnny Mathis on you. That's what it is. Everybody's worried about your feelings. Nobody cares about your feelings.
Yeah, no.
Just we're here to make a living, have fun, live your life. Feelings, they go away, they come and go. Listen, my buddy won 7 Super Bowls. We lost 3. We got up the next day. Now, it's winning, losing, part of the gig, but got to pay the bills, take care of the family, do your thing. The sky isn't going to fall. It really is. I've been a Mets fan for about 45 years. They won 1 World Series in my life. I still put the games on. What's that batting average? 1 for 45? That's not good. That's like Javi Baez, but it's like it is what it is. And your team's won twice in your lifetime. Your Phillies, the Tug McGraw team, and then the Roy Halladay team. So it is what it is. Not even close. Whitney Houston, not Whitney every day, twice on Sunday. The only woman close to her in my eyes was Pat Benatar. And Pat Benatar was different level. Pat Benatar was more hard, was rock. Whitney Houston was pop, but she could carry. But Mariah's good. She's just not Whitney Houston. And by the way, Mariah's probably heard that her whole life, so that's part of it. But I also remember, because of my age, I grew up with Dionne Warwick and Tina Turner. So Whitney Houston was the next phase of that, and she was better than both of them. Now, Tina Turner's a better entertainer than both of them. But yeah. Whitney was a better singer.
She was.
Whitney could sing the Bats to the Banshees. I mean, she was that. Go watch Super Bowl 25 national anthem with no warm up. She looks like she's an aerobics instructor. She goes out there and we're at war. We're in the Iran-Kuwait war. And she goes and does the best national anthem I've ever seen. With no warm up. I was like, who's the young girl who just showed up to sing national anthem? Oh, she's okay. Don't worry about her. Like, no warm up.
Yep.
Yes, good concert, Live Aid. Great call. Great call with the Led Zeppelin reunion.
Yep.
Among other things, with Phil Collins on drums. And Tony Thompson from the Power Station was the other drummer. So I saw somebody asked me about the 10 best. I'm a big rock and roll guy. WBCN and WAAF in Boston. 104.1 and 107.3. That's like 35 years ago, baby. So, so I see. Yes, he asked me about. I saw somebody asked me about the 10 hard rock heavy metal bands. 10. Who was it that saw that? Somebody just posted that a minute ago.
Was it?
Up to date, the Headbanger Balls thing. I just saw that. Where is it? I'm not up to date on the. Here it is. Well, I'm way behind.
Nope.
I'm way behind. I'm catching up. Yeah. Yeah, I love Def Leppard, by the way. Okay, 10. Yeah, Beav calling the 10 heavy metal, 10 top 10 MTV headbanger balls. Okay. Now, I differentiate. I don't count like Bon Jovi and Def Leppard as like headbangers ball guys. So we'll see. Let's see. I would go headbangers. You start with Black Sabbath. Then after that, after Sabbath's original, then you'd probably go Metallica. I'm not into them, but Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax. That's the heavy. Obviously, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, because Nico McBrain just retired from Iron Maiden, their drummer. What is that, like 8? One more metal. A couple more metal bands. I did Sabbath, Maiden, Priest, the Big Four. Throw Pantera in there. If I didn't, so Pantera, Metallica, Slayer, and Anthrax. There's 4. Maiden and Priest, Metallica, Sabbath. There's 8. 2 more. No, Ozzy. Metal is not Mama, I'm Coming Home. Yeah, I just did. Just give you 2 more. Oh, Slipknot.
So Slipknot's good.
And one more. I love Phil Anselmo. I love Cowboys from Hell. That's a great album. I said Sabbath. I'm missing one. One more metal. Well, Perry King was in Anthrax for like 5 minutes, I believe, from Slayer.
Really?
Yeah, look it up. And he was in Michael Jackson's band. With he and Slash were in Black and White. They played on that album, and then they were with Brianna. You know what? Who I'm going to throw in, and it's going to be controversial. Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Because I think, they did so many different things with their music, but their heavy stuff, that transition, you don't go from John Denver and, the Beatles to, you have to go in stages. Like how we got to grunge is we got from the heavy metal hair bands and heavy metal to Guns N' Roses.
Right.
They were the bridge band to get to thrash and the Seattle scene, grunge. So you need a transition. So I would do, again, Sabbath, Zeppelin, the Big Four, Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, Megadeth, Priest, Maiden. So is that 10? Did I do 10?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yep, that's it. That's my list. Then hair bands is different.
Yeah.
Hair bands is easy. I can do that for you.
How about Joey B says
Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, Jamie Lane's band, Warrant, Winger.
How about
Kill me.
What about System of Down?
I said Maiden and Sabbath. Maiden and Sabbath were incredible. Def Leppard. Yeah, I said Slipknot. Yep, I'm a music guy. One of my buddies from high school, he's a big music executive for Sony. He manages a lot of these bands and works with these. No, Fastway is more of the new wave of England bands with Maiden and Priest. Firehouse, no, they're like a Bon Jovi ripoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, some of these bands, you guys are just lost. Underrated crossover metal hairband was Dokken. Dokken was good with George Lynch. George Lynch is amazing. Probably my second favorite guitarist from the 70s and 80s. If I need to tell you who my favorite is, you're not paying attention. There's one guy who's the best guitarist from the 70s and the 80s. He was so good they named the band after him. If I need to explain to you who that is, you're not paying attention to music.
I'll
give you a clue. EVH. and he just died recently, unfortunately. Eddie.
You know what? If I could have recorded one back in the day, I would actually, because the last time I saw Slipknot was in Maryland. Before, wasn't it? Well, I was living in.
Okay, but I liked them better with when Corey Taylor was in. They're better with him. Everybody has different lineups. Like Maiden, because Paul Di'Anno just died. He was on like their first 2 albums, and then they brought in Bruce Dickinson. He did Number of the Beast. And ever since then, like changes in your band, your singer usually either elevates or kills your band. Like, Bon Scott obviously dying in AC/DC, and then Brian Johnson coming in. That's why I have such great respect for Led Zeppelin, because Robert Plant will never have them be Led Zeppelin again, because he's Bonham was his best friend, and he says we're basically a Led Zeppelin cover band without John. So, and you've seen it. What they turned on $875 million. I mean, Robert Plant tore up the check. Yeah. So to do a tour with him, John Paul Jones, and Jimmy Page. Now, John Paul Jones is like I was talking about Slash earlier, doing the studio stuff. He's loaded. Burger King commercials, other things, just crazy. Yeah, Brian Johnson is awesome. But you can't replicate his voice. You cannot.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Now, as we're getting ready to sign off here, folks, listen, we go from
MTV station. I'm Martha Quinn. No, I'm kidding. But I love Martha Quinn.
Rick brought up a good one. All right, so
Ellen Hunter, by the way, is from Michigan. Ellen Hunter and Mark Goodman is from Chicago. So, and J.J. Jackson, God bless him, a Boston guy. He worked at WBCN before he went to MTV. And my dad and his company helped move him to New York back in the day.
Now, I went to as Joey B said earlier, he said Angel in the Mosh Pit becomes Angle for sure, but Rick says Godsmack and Seven Dust. So I saw Godsmack and Seven Dust at RFK.
Seven Dust is overrated. Godsmack's okay, but they're on the level of the bands I just mentioned.
No, they're not. But I will say though, they put on a really good show because I watched them. So HFS in Baltimore. For those who remember, I think it was like 99.1 in Baltimore. But they had the HF Festival every year, and it was a 2-day festival out in RFK Stadium. And I remember seeing Godsmack put on a fantastic show. And it was like one of the early ons when they used to use, they kind of used like fishing wire, but the fiber version of it. And they had a video screen that came around in this helicopter. You could hear from a distance, and everybody thought it was actually coming in overhead. And then you could see it come into the screen. And they fired off 2 missiles, which then they set off the pyros. One of the better shows I've ever seen. It was by Godsmack. So I love that one. Angel versus Beavs, 1989, the Mosh Pit. Who wins? That would be Beav. That would be Beav. Because I would go absolutely.
Why would you say that? Has somebody been telling you things and stories?
Who knows? Rick says,
if half the stories people told about me were true, I wouldn't be alive.
Yeah, I don't think you'd have.
Some of my friends would take me over Godzilla. So I was, I don't know. It is what it is.
Journey was good. That was another one. Journey was really good. Foreigner was good.
They were more of the jukebox bands. You mentioned Foreigner's another one. Foreigner, REO Speedwagon, Styx, Journey, all the crossover before MTV started to blow up.
Yeah.
Then you had like Def Leppard, Quiet Riot. I mentioned Iron Maiden, Pat Benatar, The Pretenders. A lot of the early bands that dominated MTV. Obviously, then you had bands that really grew off of MTV, like Duran Duran, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, things like that. The Big Country is another one. They got famous off MTV. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. All right, listen, folks. For those who tune in late, you probably thought like, "Isn't this you guys talk sports?" Listen, that's why we're talk and entertainment.
Believe it or not, I'm more of a music guy than sports guy. Joan Jett played in my high school. My high school when I was in 9th grade, we won a contest. She was amazing. Night Ranger, very interesting. Brad Gilbert was in Ozzy Osbourne's band.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joey B's like, yeah, I'm a music guy.
Yeah. Listen, You never know. That's why you got to tune in.
We got to do pro wrestling back in the day.
Hey, you never.
So,
this is why you.
And I
have
can explain
to
the story of how I learned the pro wrestling was fake. My dad demonstrated on me, gave me a flying knee drop from 10 feet up in the air, and then I never asked again if pro wrestling was real. The hospital bill was bad, but yeah, it was yeah. Joan Jett was awesome. She's a Baltimore fan, huge Orioles fan.
Yeah.
She sings the national anthem in a lot of their games. She's there with Cal Ripken all the time.
That's what I mean. And by the way, Joey B says, I heard more 80s bands names in the past 10 minutes than I've heard in the past 10 years. For those who are listening in over on the radio app. But there's just
one of the things I do a lot, Angel, sorry to interrupt you, is I go to YouTube and then just enter in bands and just watch their songs. And the thing is, it's strange. I just mentioned, Paul Di'Anno dying from Iron Maiden, and Nico McBrain just retired yesterday, the drummer from Iron Maiden.
Right.
I grew up watching these bands, and you get to listen. Helps me whatever I'm doing in the day. Like I could listen to Number of the Beast, the album by Iron Maiden. I could listen to Pyromania by Def Leppard the entire day. My favorite Def Leppard song, believe it or not, of all time is Billy's Got a Gun. And most of you don't even know what that song is. Probably my favorite Maiden song is The Prisoner. But I love having the ability. Of the newer stuff, I like Linkin Park, What I've Done and stuff like that. I grew up early Motley Crue, like Too Fast for Love and Theater of Pain, and Shout Out to Devil. Shout Out to Devil. I used to come out the Live Wire in hockey a lot and other songs by Crue. But yeah, it's cool.
You know how many people are probably tuning in right now and say, what names are they talking about? You guys, there would never be music like it was with us back in the day. Just saying.
Part of it was radio has changed. In MTV, you've joked about, oh, wow, back when they used to play music, and that's what Pete jokes about too all the time. But that's how, Michael Jackson became so big because of the Thriller video and Beat It and Billie Jean. It was a 24-hour soundtrack. And, people like Kenny Loggins, whose career was made off of being in movies from Footloose to Top Gun, and Caddyshack. Thank you, Joey B. Appreciate it. So no, it's interesting to see the vehicles have changed. Bruce Dickinson had an odor. He's a pilot. He's the pilot of the Iron Maiden plane. They have a jet. It's like Flight 666, I believe they call it.
That's insane.
I love Bruce Dickinson, by the way. He completely changed Iron Maiden, made them better. It's like what John Bush did for Anthrax, because I don't like Joey Belladonna. I'm a John Bush guy in Anthrax, and he's the singer of Armored Saint, and they brought him in after Joey Belladonna quit. And Sound of White Noise by Anthrax is one of my 10 favorite albums of all time. I listen to that all the time. Video Killed the Radio Star. The first song played on MTV.
Yep.
Let's see if anybody knows what the second song is. I know what it was. I know the second and third song.
Joey B, no, I do not have a Kenny G tattoo. I do not have a tattoo.
Get out of here with that. That's soft. That's Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, no. Kenny G, it's probably quite a performer. I know he was one of those that
Ricky's asking about this the Maiden plane. Yes, I have seen it. I'm a huge Maiden fan. Maiden fan. But I'll say this. I like them better with Clive Burr, the old drummer. I love Clive Burr. And he died of LS. Yeah, it was the 74-7. They bought it and refurbished it. So yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so the second song MTV played was You Better Run by Pat Benatar. And then the third song was, they played a Pretenders song. I'm trying to remember what it was. It might have been, oh my God, what's the third song they played on MTV? I'm gonna have to, I think it's Tattoo Love Boys by the Pretenders. I gotta look it up. I want to get this right.
Might be right. Joey Biz says, Angel has the greatest hits of John Tesh in a CD player. No, never. Not with John Tesh. That's just as bad as saying with Celine. Don't get me off. Rick says, don't get me wrong, was the third one? Was that Pat Benatar? Or don't get me no.
Yes, You Better Run was the second one. I'm looking at it now.
All right. Well, everybody
Oh,
knows.
no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The third song was "She Won't Dance with Me," Rod Stewart. "You Better Run" was 2. You bet, The Who. Okay, The Pretenders was 7. Brass and Pocket. Yeah, I'm watching it. I'm reading it now. They're all the list. Iron Maiden was 16. The funniest thing. Here's a great trivia question for Angel. Their first concert showed on MTV. You could sit here for a month. You won't get this right.
You're absolutely right, because I can't remember.
Pauline Daniels.
Holy craps. Jeez.
So the funniest thing. So when MTV first came out, my hometown Andover was a test place for, because they didn't know how big it was going to get. And we were one of the test areas to have it. And I literally would watch it all day. And if you understand how they used to do MTV, they'd record like 8 hours every day and just recycle everything. Each DJ would come on. You know, you had Martha Quinn, JJ Jackson, Alan Hunter, Mark Goodman, and Nina Blackwood. Those were the 5.
Oh, yeah.
And they would all, it was the same show over and over again. They'd record on like Tuesday. And Martha's out talking. She does a lot of shows. She's got her own stream show, and they all do. Mark Goodman actually works for the lottery in Chicago. And JJ, I mentioned, passed away. And I think Nina Blackwood has a streaming show too on Clear Channel. So they all are out talking, and they talk about this stuff. But it's amazing. You know, and Martha Quinn was a simple RA at like NYU when she got hired by MTV. And Martha Quinn looked like she was 15 years old. It was funny. The funniest thing ever, if you want to watch this, go on YouTube and type in Martha Quinn interviewing David Lee Roth.
Right.
And she's trying to be serious. And David Lee Roth is trying, you probably all heard about this. David Lee Roth's trying to make her laugh. And just being David Lee Roth. And Martha Quinn's sitting there like, she's just like stone-faced. She's like, and Martha jokes about this now because it's funny. But the best thing was they got so many exclusive at MTV because JJ Jackson was the ultimate insider in the 70s where he worked in Boston at WBCN. He drove Led Zeppelin around before they were Led Zeppelin. He was like their chauffeur, and he showed them around. And when Robert Plant went to MTV to interview, he sat and talked to JJ Jackson for like an hour and a half. And then John Paul Jones did it. So they had such a huge advantage with JJ Jackson being there. Like they would, like, big record. Kiss unmasked themselves with JJ Jackson. That's another one. Because they had a relationship with JJ. And people didn't know this because he was a big deal. Back in the day, DJs on the radio like Wolfman Jack were a huge deal. And yeah, it was cool.
One thing or two things here before we end up taking off here. Joey B says Angel Fuji made a fortune in 1990 selling fake tickets outside of Spectrum to suburban kids for Madonna concerts. And no, I was not a backup dancer for Madonna, but he brings up a good point though, because at the Spectrum, and they still do it even at the Link. The funny part was that someone would be standing there. So let's just say it was $25 for the ticket. And a guy would come out, just, yeah, listen, I got a ticket. He's like an auctioneer. You give him the $25, and all you had to do is, and when I mean half a second, look down at the paper, look back up, is this good? He's gone like a magician. Nowhere to be found at all. God, I love Philly. Philly was great. It was just a sucker born every minute because he's like, why do you guys give him your money? You know it's a fake freaking ticket, but you guys, all right, go ahead. Go up to the door and watch. They're going to reject you. It's ridiculous.
That's one of my buddies went to a Red Sox game, and he bought fake tickets, and he didn't know it. And he went up to scan them, and they're from 5 years ago.
Jeez. Oh, but you know what? I did purchase a ticket, and this is when they started changing things. Rick M says, I will save some rock stories. Next time we'll call in and remind me of Joe Perry of Aerosmith's story of his own band called Project or Joe Perry Project. Now,
he and Brad Whitford left Aerosmith. Brad Whitford went and formed a band with Ted Nugent's guy, St. Holmes, and they had their own band. It was Whitford, St. Holmes, and Joe Perry. It was Joe Perry Project. Literally, the Aerosmith guys. Joe Perry's from Lawrence, the next town away from me. I love Joe Perry and Aerosmith. So I've literally seen Aerosmith probably 30 times live. If you're from Boston, if you haven't seen Aerosmith live, literally, Steven Tyler will walk into a Dunkin' Donuts and just start singing to fans, and this happens all the time. There's videos of this everywhere. And Angel's laughing because he knows this is true. Yeah, if you like, literally, Steven Tyler will go to he won't even go through the drive-thru at Dunkin' Donuts. He will walk into Dunkin' Donuts, and hey, Steven's here. He's gonna sing, and he starts singing.
Unbelievable.
So, and by the way, he's kind of hard to miss. So when you see Steven Tyler, you know it's Steven Tyler, but it's pretty good. The other one is Mark Wahlberg with the Waffle Houses. Donnie Wahlberg, excuse me, because he's on tour with New Kids and obviously Blue Bloods. But when he's on tour, he always goes to Waffle House, and when he's in town, they know, hey, Donnie's gonna come. And he posts it on social media all the time. There we go. We're doing sing-alongs, music, and that's where. Hey, and we made fun of Ryan Day, and you went nuts on Sirianni. This was a good show.
It sure was. By the way, Joey B to close out the comments here. He says, Angel story to Land Deb, and Studio B says, hey, I got Kenny Rogers tickets. You want to go? No. But then he follows up with Angel's pickup line to Deb and Studio B. Hey, you like Duran Duran? Yeah, me too. No. No. Rick, we'll get the last comment here. He says, if in Tampa at a baggy service, you can meet Joey Fatone's sister, Janine, who works with me at Southwest. Wow. How about that? But the quick barcode story I want to talk about here, because I have to get ready for Lloyd Vance's show. So I want to say, Beav, it was like a 3-year difference, but and it was at a Phillies game. This is when barcode started first coming out as tickets. Well, I had purchased a ticket like 2 days prior to a Phillies game, but not realizing it, and I had it on my phone. When the lady scanned the barcode ticket, I went in. All right, no big deal. So as I'm walking through, I went to go get something to eat, and I'm looking at my phone like, wait, how in the hell did that just happen? It was a barcode ticket, but it was the same identical date, 2 different teams. It wasn't even the same teams, and it was able to scan me in. So I went back to the front gate, and I said to the lady, listen, I just want to make sure that that you see this. I was able to enter, and I showed her the ticket actually that I purchased, but I said I was able to enter through the gates right now with a ticket that I purchased over 3 years ago. And the lady scanned it again for a second time, and it worked again. Like almost, it let me re-enter for a second time. So after that, they finally smartened up and realized that obviously they had to change a code in there. But I thought it was interesting. I was able to get in twice on a 3-year-old ticket, barcode ticket. But nonetheless, thank you all for tuning in. Yes, we got a range of everything tonight. Finished up with the music segment, and Lord knows it was going to go that route. So who knew? But nonetheless, we will be back.
Next week, peace in the Middle East. We'll discuss.
Yes, we will bring it down to everybody. Great show, guys. Pass on 2.5 Men for this to have a great night. Listen, thank you, Brick. I do appreciate 2.5 Men is always good. It's always a good time. It's a good show with Alan. It's a good one. But all right, thank you guys. Thanks to Joey B and Penguin AZ who tuned in earlier. Rick M, matter of fact, Penguin AZ who said he was listening in from the app. Thank you to B. We will both be back on Wednesday night, 6 p.m. And I got tons of stuff to go on too, because I also have something going on with USF on Wednesday. But I'll be back in time for Beav's World at 6 on Wednesday evening. So thank you all. Don't forget Lloyd Vance's Insider Football coming up right after this. And also Pete Shepard Show and the Pete Shepard in the morning from 7 to 10 a.m. So with that being said, thank you all once again for tuning in. Don't forget to visit sr1029thegame.com. Have yourselves a great night. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Go Bengals.